It's still happy hour with John Gaskins, so go ahead, have another.
Well, let's hear from the Dean of Missouri Valley Football Conference coaches. I can already sense him over here laughing about that.
The old guy.
He insists we call him that, the Dean of Missouri Valley Football Conference coaches. Brock Spack, in his 18th year at Illinois State, took the Redbirds all the way to the national championship game last year for the second time in his career, and it's great to have him at MVFC Media Day here at the Pentagon in Sioux Falls. And look, you're going to be asked a lot about going all the way to the national championship game, perhaps about NIL, not the Bison not being in the league. I'm sure you just were by our friends and neighbors. I just want to hear some Joe Tiller stories. Can
Love
you,
to tell you
do
some
that
Joe
for me?
Yeah, give me. What are you looking for?
I mean, Joe Tiller, to me, is one of the most, first of all, successful, considering where he did all his great work, Wyoming and Purdue, best coach in Purdue history, and one of the more interesting, to me, colorful coaches. I mean, he just made watching football fun, and you were along for the ride for a lot of it, right?
Yeah, I knew Coach since, I played for him my senior year in '83.
That's right.
And then I went and played pro football briefly, got cut, came back, and they kept the GA job open for me because they probably knew I was going to get cut.
Yeah.
And thought, we'll keep one open and just in case. And I got the I was a graduate assistantship under him, and then went to Wabash College and went to for a season in Eastern Illinois when they were in the league back when Coach Spoo, and then Coach hired me at Wyoming after a 4-year stint at Purdue as a linebacker coach. So he was an unbelievable person in that he has a great sense of humor, and he's a man's man, and he is so witty, and guys would leave a staff meeting. He goes, "Was he serious?" And I go, "Yeah." I would kind of interpret it for him. Yeah, he's pretty serious about that. You might want to change what you're doing, or he said no, he didn't care. So he handled everything with humor and sarcasm. Yeah. And I remember one time thinking about a Tiller story is. I said, Coach, sarcasm is kind of a poor way of motivating sometimes. He looked at me and goes, "Worked for you, doesn't it?" Hard to argue it.
On you. Yeah. I mean, 10 bowl seasons in 12 years at Purdue, which is just as everyone knows, is a really tough place to win big. Yeah. And he did it with the famous basketball on grass, and Drew Brees as his quarterback in the 2000 Rose Bowl. So you were part of that staff. So what kind of a wave was that like to ride? And if you don't mind, especially the biggest and best crusade there, do you remember things that he said that cut everybody up, loosened everybody up when Purdue got to its zenith?
Well, I remember him when I first went to Wyoming. I was a young defensive coordinator trying to do a good job, and he just wanted my personality. He said, "Don't reinvent the wheel. Just your personality is all we want." Okay. Yeah. So, but he would come up to me and kind of whisper in my ear, "This basketball and grass kind of sissy stuff, isn't it?" Because he loved the way Wisconsin and Iowa played.
He was a defensive guy, right?
He's an offensive guy, actually.
I thought
he's an offensive line coach. But he did coordinate the defense at Purdue for 1 year. You're right.
Okay.
But it was a couple years, actually. But he's really an offensive line coach, and he loves running the football. But I think that's the biggest misnomer for us there is how physical we were. Yeah. And he goes, "This is Big Ten football now. We have to be ready." And we were live a lot in preseason and in spring. So he ran a real tough program physically, even though it was what he called basketball on grass.
Yeah, and look, you were his defensive coordinator there for those 12 seasons, and so of course I need a Drew Brees story with your defense going up against that guy in practice every day. How good could you tell he was then?
I can tell you, we were getting ready for the. We're in spring practice, so you're going into the 2000 season. We won the Big Ten championship that year. We ended up winning it, and then we went to the Rose Bowl, back when the Rose Bowl was the champion, right? And so Breeze would, we were really, I was really kind of experimenting with a lot of fire zone stuff and 3 deep, 3 under, and a lot of pressure. And trying to be able to learn. What I learned from Drew Brees I would after a scrimmage, a full-fledged scrimmage, and they were long now. With Coach Tiller, we were out there a long time, 150, 170 plays. I mean, it was long.
Wow.
And I would sit down with Drew and we debrief. I said, well, how'd you know this blitz was coming? Well, I could tell by the eyes of a safety. His eyes were looking right at where he's put pressure. The body language of your linebacker told me. And I said, interesting. And I said, how did you get fooled? I said, well, you were in the exact same stance and the exact same. So I learned so much about how disguising coverages and pressure by having to play him every day in practice. But then to debrief a guy like that and run 80 plays at him in a scrimmage, it really helped us. And we had a young defense. We had 5 freshmen that played. Some were redshirted guys, but we had 5 freshmen, 7 freshmen that played on that defense and went to the Rose Bowl. And without his help, basically, play against him, it really made us better.
So, playing at Purdue early '80s, and I looked it up. Not prolific years, although I think your freshman year.
Freshman year went pretty good year.
But and seeing a turnaround, obviously with Joe Tiller there, late '90s into the 2000s. But it's how much of playing there, coaching there at a place where it feels like it's an uphill battle a lot.
Right.
How has that shaped you as a head coach or even as a human?
He was, I have a lot of Tillerisms, good and bad.
Yeah.
People, God, you're just like Joe. I said, well, I've been around him for 20, 30 years now. But he was, I think how he separated himself is he would, he had a way of doing things, and that's the way we're going to do it. And he was about physicality as much as you didn't think that with the style of offense we had. We rushed for 300 yards on Michigan the year we went to Rose Bowl. Everybody talks about Breeze. Yeah, he had a great game too, but we rushed the ball for 300 yards when Michigan was, and they're still really good, but they were really good, and they just come off a national championship game. So he had a way about him, and he was, he didn't. He always talked about timing everything in life is important, and I think when our timing, we hit Purdue. He was the perfect coach at the perfect school, and it was a perfect relationship for Purdue to be successful because that's what they needed at that time.
Yeah,
and it was really amazing. He's always been right about that.
Right.
Timing's everything in life.
He retired in 2008. You were the defensive coordinator. You, correct me if I'm wrong, wanted to be the head coach, applied to be the head coach.
Yeah, and I didn't. I think I took second, but it was okay.
Yeah. And you wanted to stay even for the new guy, Danny Young.
Danny Hope and I were friends. Hope. I mean, we know each other for a long time, but I got an opportunity, and I just felt that this was something. And even my wife said, Brock, I think you got to take this job. It's right up your alley. You're from Illinois, and it's in the Midwest, and I had my eye on Illinois State for a long time because when I was in the league before with Eastern Illinois, we played Illinois State, and I always kind of scratched my head why these guys weren't a little bit better. But they had some good years, but they weren't real consistent. So I just think I know the language, so to speak, in the state of Illinois and Chicago and then maybe in the Midwest, and so we've kind of recruited Illinois State kind of guys, and that's really helped us.
So what do both of those things mean? Knowing the landscape and the language in Illinois, what does you know the actual answer to this question? What does it take to be successful in the Mo Valley, in the state of Illinois? Give me an impression of kind of whatever is an advantage or a challenge about that, being the head coach at Illinois State.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of coaches, and particularly young guys, will make mistakes. They try to change the culture of the university, and the university is not changing their culture. So you have to recruit players that match the culture of the university. Whether it's Purdue is engineering, so you had to find these guys who are really technical and but also really good players. Illinois State, it's education and business. So you try to get guys who it's really simple. We've had really good success in the academic world in football there because we get it at the front end. We go recruit really good students that really want to be at Illinois State. It's really important for them to be there, and they fit the culture. And I think that's been the best. And Coach Tiller's talked about that all the time. The fit.
Yeah.
Everything's about a fit. And you can't. I've obviously made some mistakes. Put some kids or even staff that didn't fit us and didn't fit Illinois State, and everybody had to move on. But I think we've won more of those battles than not, and we kind of know the lay of the land and what kind of kid is successful there from an academic standpoint. Very, very, very much like the Big Ten. Really good student. You want a high-end student, a good, motivated guy, hard worker, work ethic, and then is hungry to be a good player.
Yeah, and you eventually go to the national title game in 2014. You're becoming a playoff team, a consistent winning team. Go to the playoffs in 2019. COVID hits, and that changed all of our lives to a degree. So explain that, because for you guys, there are a couple of down years, but you've picked it right back up with playoffs last 2 years, national title game this past year.
I had to make some decisions. I talked to Patty Viverito several times during all this. Brock, I hear it from so many coaches. COVID really affected different people different ways, and for some reason for us it was just awful. And I think it was because our 19 team was a pretty good team. We made the quarterfinals, had a really knockout, drag-out game up in the Fargo Dome, and it was a great football game. And we had everybody coming back. We had a great defense. We had a good quarterback, and he didn't get to play in the playoffs the year before. So everybody, I thought the 2020 team was really good. Well, they're all seniors, and they didn't get a chance to play. So what we do? We go transfer and go play if you can, and I'll help you. And so we lost a lot of those guys, and so some of those guys got their year back, that didn't move at other schools, and so there's some schools benefited from it. We did not. We lost all our guys because we tried to help them find a place to play their senior year. So what I decided then, I said we built up a lot of collateral. We've had some good years. We're going to do this really. We know how to do this. We've rebuilt the program several times. Now we're going to do this right and get the right kids in here, and then we'll go back to the national championship game. I think our way is the right way at Illinois State. Yeah. So we get it.
You kind of described what that way means, but for you personally, I understand you signed a contract through the end of next season, 2027. But as you guys were going on this wild ride throughout the playoffs and reaching the championship game in Nashville, some were wondering, well, win or lose, maybe this would be the perfect time for Brock to ride off into the
move sunset.
On. What I'm sure you heard
get a young stallion.
Were people asking you about that?
They still ask me.
Did you consider it at all?
No.
And I feel sheepish bringing that up.
No, it's okay, but it's a good question. It's a fair question. I would tell you it's every year now. It's year to year, and and I don't. I've had opportunities to do some things along the way. I hate to move. My wife and I love the area. Our children don't. My son lives in the area. He went to Illinois State. My daughter and her husband live up in Victoria, Minnesota. But he's a. So our family, but they love to come to Bloomington Normal. We live in a nice home. We have a nice community. Everybody's, a lot of move-ins because of State Farm and Country companies. There's a lot of, moving around, and but I didn't like moving, and I just we were very happy with our life, and my wife finally found something that, when you're a coach's wife, you kind of follow the husband, and not kind of, you do, and now she found something that she really enjoys, and she works for Special Olympics Illinois, which is their home office is right there in Illinois, and she loves it. It's a great organization, great cause, and then she likes to sell homes a little bit on the side. So our lives are we don't want to
settled.
We're settled in, and we're just not interested in moving on.
Well, obviously, and you have a hunger to keep coaching football. So what made it a no-brainer to come back after that run? And you lose a great quarterback in Tommy Rittenhouse and a great receiver who's with the Houston Texans right now.
Pretty good. Stop quits.
Thank you. So what was your driving force this year? What is your driving force this year?
You got two guys here. They're a very good representative of who our team is, both B+ students and hard workers, tough guys. Yeah. They're in the weight room, they're training, they train. Kind of guys you want to have around. really like our team from the not just the physical makeup, but the mental makeup. They're my kind of guys, and so I'm excited for it. And we have to develop another quarterback, and we got 4 guys right now and 5 guys, but we got probably 3 guys that are very capable of being good players.
I'll leave you on this. Have you, since that, you get all the way to the very end, you're this close to winning the national championship. The last several months, have you thought more about just and felt the pride of getting all that way, or whatever you felt after what happened?
I told the team after the game in the locker room, I said, "You're going to look back on this," and they were really disappointed, obviously. Yeah. And I said, "Listen, fellas, what you did is amazing. First of all, you won 4 road games, and no one's ever done that to get to a national championship. And you're going to look back, and there'll probably be 15 to 20 plays out there today that if we make one of them, we win the national title." And I didn't watch the game until about 2 or 3 weeks ago on tape. So I finally pulled it out. It was a slow day in the summer, so I said, I got to watch this thing. So I watched all of the game. I said, there were 30 plays, at least, that if we just make one of them, is this subtle thing that you wouldn't notice as a fan maybe? It was, if we make one of those 30 plays, you win the game, because it was that kind of game. Yeah. I mean, it came down to making one more play, and we just couldn't find a way to it, I guess. But
did you go ahead?
No, I'm fine.
Did you want to just push stop before the final plays? Or did you
I knew some of them. I knew what was coming on some of them. Yes, I kind of wanted to go through them, but I did, and I sat and watched them. And I talk about that with our players, finding your split seconds, your inches to winning, championships. It comes down to that in football, like any sport, but particularly football. It comes down to split second or inches in order to win a national title, and there are 30 of them at least. Yeah. And to our opponents' credit, they made one more player than we did, and we didn't, so they won the game. That's what happens.
It was great to meet you and get a chance to speak with you.
Well, no, I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the stories. Okay. Brock Spack, Illinois State head football coach here at MVFC Media Day on Happy Hour.